Hello, YouTube family. Attorney Lee Marvin here. I specialize in immigration law, and I do videos about all sorts of different immigration matters and tips and tricks. Today is a tip, I guess. This came across our attention. We found it through our connection with USCIS. This guide, which we're going to post some information about it, but this is a guide that USCIS uses to identify fraud during the interview process. Okay, so there's different sections of their little checklist that help them decide if somebody is lying or misleading or things like that. Some of them are outright ridiculous that these things trigger a negative flag on someone's case. It's important to review this video just so you can keep this in mind while you're going through your interview. Okay? So first, they have a general behavioral fraud indicator guide. Whoa, that sounds crazy. One of the checks for it, they're looking for extreme nervousness. I tell clients every day, yeah, of course you're nervous. Everybody's nervous when they talk to the freaking government. So they can use that against you if they decide to, okay? Another check, lack of knowledge about basic questions. So that's kind of important. Immigration asks basic questions about your relationship with your spouse or significant other or your sponsor. If you don't know basic questions or the answers to them, that is a red flag. Absolutely, okay? If you're late for the interview, they're going to hold that against you. I don't know how that's a fraud indicator. It could just be traffic, right? Traffic or accidents, who knows? But they will use it against you if they want to. So lack of interest or interaction with the government. I don't exactly know what that means. I guess if you are not super on it, on top of it, super excited, they will use that against you. Essentially, anything they don't like, they will justify as a reason to deny your request, okay? So just be aware of that. Eye contact. Apparently, that's a huge one, and I get that, right? So people, when they're being deceptive or devious, they can't look you in the eye, right? So practice good eye contact. If you're naturally nervous about this kind of stuff, practice with anyone, your spouse, your friend. Do the eye contact thing. It's very important. If you're, they say, evasive or general answers. Oh, so if you're evasive, you're trying not to answer the question, or if you give very general answers when they ask for something more specific, that is an indication that you either don't know what you're talking about or you're trying to avoid giving answers because you think they may be wrong or you just don't know the answer, okay? If you have an attorney go with you to your interview, red flags could be marked if your attorney interrupts your answers. So immigration asks a question. Oh, whoa, just one second. If your idiot attorney does that multiple times or in the wrong sequence or just too many times, that is a red flag, big red flag, because what immigration is thinking, okay, this attorney is buying time for this person to find the right answer, or they're tipping them off that the answer that they are probably going to give, they need to think about more thoroughly, okay? Red flag. So again, they have a little checkbox. If the attorney attempted to distract the client or the agent, or if they try to mislead, okay? So that is the general behavioral traits. Other general fraud indicators can be documents issued immediately before the interview. Okay, this happens a fair amount. So if you're from overseas and there's information that we've been waiting for to submit to support your filing, if you just happen to get this document issued by the government right before your interview or shortly before, they will basically consider it fraudulent. This has happened to a number of my African clients. There's a very high level of distrust between the government of the United States and people from Africa. It's just the way it's been. It's the way it is. It might not be fair, but that's the case. So it's hard to get documents from certain governments in the continent of Africa. It's just the way it is. It's not the same as the United States. Access to information, storage of information isn't the same there as it is here. So I've had clients that we obtain these documents. Well, they had to talk to the local government, who then had to reach out to the state government, to the national government, and they issued a document as a request of their citizen person. And the government looks at it and says, "Ooh, that's fake because you just got that document. How convenient that that document was just issued by the government in Congo," for example. So that has happened to some of my clients, so be aware of that. So basically, you start ahead, you get an attorney, hire an attorney. Don't try to do this stuff yourself, man. I say that every video, and I kind of sound repetitive by doing it, but it's for a good reason, because people try to do this stuff. They just slap stuff together, and then they're shocked when they get denied, or the process takes twice as long, or they get multiple requests for evidence. It's because they're not planning ahead. If it's wanting to save a buck, or if it's just because you don't know how this works, that's a bad thing. So start early with an attorney so you can get all this information before the time where you have the interview and the government basically doesn't believe a thing you're saying or doing, okay? If you have documents early and the dates are early enough, sometimes by years. So sometimes the government will say this document conveniently was dated last year. Well, okay, that's because we just started the process. We didn't know we needed it. The government doesn't care why it is. They just doubt that it's true or an accurate or up-to-date document. They think it was made in somebody's basement in Africa, okay? So just make sure that you have the documents well in advance, okay? Something here they say, documents issued immediately after interview. That's another example. So you just happen to get that document now since immigration asks for it. Again, I don't think it's weird at all, knowing the different cultures and the different capabilities of these cultures. That's not weird, but the government immigration thinks it is, okay? Over submissions is a checkbox here. So if you're over submitting way too many of the same sorts of documents, they say, okay, we get it, and you're going to rely on that one similar document to prove your case. We don't think so. You got to have a number of different documents that speak to different parts of your relationship or different parts of your life to be authentic, okay? Suspect tax filing or financial transactions. This happens a lot too. I've seen this more in Central America and South America, where the government doubts that the sponsor really has a legit background or financial history. So they say, we believe, in essence, you cooked the books. You made up your financial documents. You really haven't owned this company for X years. We think that you're full of it, and you're lying to us. Again, Central and South America is very different than the United States, but immigration doesn't really appreciate or care about that because their job is to doubt everything. That's just what they do. So another example, keep your financial documents tight. Make sure that you're doing stuff legit. Even people that I've had clients here in the United States that are citizens that have had businesses here in the United States. They have businesses overseas too, and they half-ass it, right? They don't keep proper financial documents, or they don't generate the documents in acceptable accounting principles, and it looks like people just make crap up in their house or basement. Well, there's times where that's true. And the government's job is to make sure that people are providing accurate information. They're not making it up. So that's an example. Multiple petitions or applications by a single applicant or petitioner. So if you have a petitioner that is trying to sponsor multiple spouses over the years, that's a red flag, okay? Everybody can see that. You have multiple relationships, and it's convenient that every relationship you're applying for a green card. That used to be the number one way people did immigration fraud, was by multiple relationships. Don't be that person. Don't be that person, okay? If you're committing fraud, that's the quickest way for immigration to catch you on it, is if you are sponsoring multiple people, multiple times, multiple relationships. Just watch that kind of stuff. And I'm going to do a complimentary video with this. I'm not going to keep going. There's a ton more, but we're already over 11 minutes, and I don't want people to get bored with this. So I'm going to do a separate video to give you more examples of these things, because this is gold. The fact that our office was able to get this from USCIS is gold. So stand by, subscribe to us, because you won't know that we're releasing this second video unless you subscribe to us. So subscribe to our channel, and also don't forget to always check our website, marvinlawoffice.com, for updates. Give us a call if you need help with any of this stuff. We would love to help you succeed with your immigration matter.